Many people believe that reviewers shy away from negative reviews, but in reality sharing honest criticism can be a tricky business. I noticed that whenever I highlight possible improvements, those already own the products are not always thrilled. And let's not forget audio manufacturers that can be really sensitive to feedback. But in the end of the day, my goals is really simple: to give you my honest impressions and help you to make the right choice. So does it mean today's review is going to be negative? Well, let's say it's just a mixed bag. Even I'm finding it difficult to decide whether the focal Aria Evo X No.1 is a unique speaker or just not quite there. I will share my thoughts, but in the end, I'd love to hear what you think about it in the comment sections down below. So let's dive in. Focal has refreshed the Aria range with the new Evo X lineup, following the original Aria 900 series that was launched many years ago. Announced at the CES 2024, the new lineup consists of several models, including the compact bookshelf speaker under review today, the Aria Evo X No.1. And this series includes also a full home theater setup with a bigger floor standing speaker and as well a center speaker, the Aria Evo X Center. The Aria Evo X No.1 is a front bass reflex two-way bookshelf speaker featuring Focal's properties inverted 1-inch dome TAM tweeter and the 6.5-inch or 16.5 cm flex mid-bass driver with a nominal impedance of 8 ohms and a sensitivity of 89.5 decibels. These speakers are relatively easy to drive, I didn't have any problem. Upon arrival, the speakers were packed in a single box that felt underwhelming. The internal packaging was a bit loose and the speaker was moving inside. However, my perceptions quickly changed once I unpacked them and placed them on the stands. The build quality is really fantastic for the price. The glass top looks stunning and the high glass pen job is almost impeccable. The mid-woofer featuring Focal's iconic flex cone made with French flex fibers adds a touch of uniqueness that's both eye-catching and distinctive. That said, the packaging, in my opinion, deserved more attention. One minor issue I encountered was with the speaker terminals. The banana plugs connectors includes unnecessary pins inside, making it quite difficult to remove. Knowing that Focal speaker also coming from headphones, I used to review the beautiful Elegia headphones that require several times to break in. It took me maybe 2-3 months and the sounds really improved. So I decided to give a solid 2 months time before break-in before the review. That's why it's arrived a bit late. My initial listening test was conducting by using the amplifier, all the amplifier that I have here, but I used the M5 SI. And the first impressions is of a really clean and clinic speaker. Neutral and well-defined bass with no artificial emphasis. The speaker is highly technical and precise, almost analytical in the mid-range, with a detailed treble. What really stands out is the amazing soundstage, really wide. It lacks a little bit in depth, but is really wide. And also imaging and dynamic are excellent for the price. Measurements shows minimal differences between toe-in and no toe-in in setups, with only a slight variations in the top-end response. I prefer the speakers without toe-in to avoid vocals sounding too forward. The tweeter dispersion is remarkably wide, creating a large soundstage. Dog depth remains lacking, which is, let's say, acceptable in this price range. One notable feature is the magnetic grills. There is a little difference in sounds with and without them, as confirmed by the measurements. which is a positive aspect. Looking for more warmth in the bottom end, I switched to the Audiolab 7000A. It provides some mid-bass emphasis, but it remains tighter than I wanted. However, it made the top end sounds more airy and energetic. So I decided to move into the NAD C399, solid and warm to the bass without altering the treble. Plus the beautiful amplifier I'm working on the review coming soon. And I moved also in a second moment to name. I have two amplifiers from name that I'm comparing, the XS3 and the SuperNate 3. Are not brand new amplifier. I purchased them both on second market. I really like them, and if you guys are interested in the review comparisons, please let me know in the descriptions down below. And here I have to say that really was the best combinations with both. The SuperNate provided a more grounded bass, but the XS3 allowed the woofer to breathe more, resulting in a longer and more engaging bass response. Despite being a woofer that is less controlled on XS3, I really love also this bass sound. The Aria Evo X No.1 is a speaker that I enjoyed more at high volumes, despite not being an high volume listener lovers. It has excellent distortions tolerance, with measurements taken at 75, 80, 85 dB, showing only minor distortions and clipping detected only at 90 dB. An impressive results in my room, of course, with UMIC 1 and Room EQ Wizard. To give you an idea, other speaker start to show clipping already at 85, but a bookshelf speaker, of course. So it's really a speaker that can handle high volumes despite the size in an exceptional way. At lower volumes, however, the bass presence diminishes significantly, affecting the overall balance of the music. And to further illustrate this, I conduct some near-field measures comparing Focal Aria Evo X No.1 with DALI Rubicon 2 that we just reviewed, and my reference speaker, the Buchart S400 MK2. And as you can see, Focal's bass tends to roll off below 200 Hz already. And this is not entirely a downside. As shown in another measurements taken from the listening point, room gains helps to balance the response. And despite a dip around 50-60 Hz coming from my environment acoustic, the Focal speaker achieve a fairly neutral response when compared to the KEF Concerto Meta, for example, which has a more powerful bass presence like the DALI Rubicon 2. So this makes, in my opinion, the Evo X N1 really sensitive, really sensible to room placement and room characteristics. In my space, in my environment, it sounds bass-light, which made many music genres, especially rock, metal, sound thin and lacking impact. And this tuning doesn't favor non-audiophile music. Interestingly, the Focal Evo X N1 remind me another speaker, the KEF LS50 Meta, that presents a similar tonality. A speaker that pairs well with Subwoofer. And actually I performed this type of setup with the Focal Aria Evo X N1 by adding the new Buchart Sub 10, crossing over at 60 Hz to blend seamlessly with the natural roll-off of the speaker, and the result was outstanding, showing that it's much easier to integrate such a speaker with a subwoofer than with model featuring a bass extended frequency response. Another point about the bass that you might be wondering is if I did some test with the speaker maybe more closer to the back wall, and the answer is yes. Take a look of these measurements comparing the speaker positions at 30 cm, so 12 inches, 60 cm, so 24 inches, and 100 cm, so almost 39 inches from the back wall. Moving the speaker closer to the wall results in a slightly difference of 1-2 dB in the bass response. So I will say no, placing them closer to the wall doesn't really benefit their overall bass extension. Okay, but Matt, what you actually like from this speaker? Well, as I mentioned, I really appreciate the soundstage. It's a really clean and technical speaker. I also really enjoyed the vocals, accuracy and timbre, as well the excellent vertical dispersions. The soundstage feel really high, with a great sense of scale, making it really a speaker with potentials, but in my opinion not for everyone. And to illustrate this further, I make some comparisons with some of my favorite speakers. First comparisons is with the DALI Rubicore 2 that we just reviewed. And if you saw the review, I paired it with the NAME XS3 to smoother a little bit the top end that was a bit bright. One aspect that I really appreciate from DALI was the bass extensions, bass reflex port that was almost invisible, I would say really invisible. In contrast, the focal tends to produce a bit of chuffing noise, so really not silent as DALI. Proof of a more refined cabinet design in the Danish speaker. And again, when I'm comparing the focal to the KEF Q Concerto Meta that we also just reviewed, I actually prefer KEF. While it's less clinical and technical, it's far more enjoyable and versatile. Speaking about a setup without subwoofer. With subwoofer, well, this is another story. Another interesting contender is the Buchart P300 to stay in the same retail price, which emphasized the bass even more than KEF in the upper bass regions. However, it's not as accurate in terms of timbre, especially with male vocals like Focal, but it's still very funny and versatile to listen also without subwoofer. Something interesting to notice, the Focal Aria Evo XN1, you will find it for 1500 bucks in Europe, where in US is something around 2300 if I'm not wrong. So it's a pretty high difference, and with this money actually you can go in US with the Buchart S400 MK2 that in my opinion is a far superior speaker compared to the Focal Aria Evo X #1. In the end, the Focal Aria Evo X #1 offer impressive technical performance with excellent imaging, dynamics and a wide soundstage. However, achieving the right tonal balance requires careful amplifier pairing and a room with favorable acoustics. While they can perform well on their own at higher volumes with high quality recordings, their true potential is unlocked when is paired with a subwoofer, delivering a more complete and satisfying listening experience that actually few speakers in this price range can really match. I believe the biggest challenge with the Focal Aria Evo X #1 is that they rely too much on a perfect room acoustic or well-treated room to achieve balanced low-end performance. Something most of us simply don't have it, right? Because as you saw my rooms, it has this dip between 50-60 Hz that is ruined the overall performance of such speaker. And that's the reality. Most of the rooms are coming with peaks and dips, which is why most of the speaker today tends to boost a bit the bass to compensate these imperfections. And by taking a different approach, the Aria Focal Evo XN1 stands apart from most of the tuning philosophies commonly found on the market today. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm still unsure whether this is a bold choice or a complete miss. But one thing is certain, this is a unique speaker, designed for a selected audience. Also, this speaker is not a bad speaker, it's just not the right for my environment, unless I decide to move further with a subwoofer extension. However, that doesn't mean it will be the same for you. Remember, I can share my impressions and insights, but my listening environment isn't the same as yours. And in the end, you are the only ones that truly knows what works well for you. And that's it. That was my review of the Focal Aria Evo XN1. What about you? What you think about it? Do you own them or you had the chance to listen them? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. That is really important for me. And as always, like button if you enjoy the video, take in considerations to subscribe, and see you soon. Peace and love. See you.